The COVID-19 pandemic has brought misery and uncertainty for people around the world, but there has also been a silver lining. The issue of hygiene was brought to the center stage. We were reminded about how important it is to shield ourselves from these infectious diseases. What does this mean in a world that is warming up at an unprecedented speed? Yes, there is a link between climate hazards and infectious diseases. A new study says flooding, heat waves and droughts have multiplied 58% of the known infectious diseases. Researchers had to go through about 375 diseases and found that about 218 of those were made worse in places with extreme weather. It is a well-founded argument that diseases and the weather are connected, but as the effects of climate change become clearer by the day, more research is required to see what it is doing to the prevalent diseases. Let me give you some examples. About 5 years ago, Colombia faced one of its worst floods. Water had entered many houses, inundating them partly, and this turned parts of the country into a breeding ground for mosquitoes. And with that came all kinds of viruses: dengue, malaria, chikungunya. People who suffered from these diseases still complain of joint pains. Let's talk about heat waves now, which have gripped most parts of our world this year. Rising heat plays a crucial role in spreading diseases. It means viruses are becoming immune to high temperatures. Warming climate also makes people more vulnerable to infections. So it is like a no-win situation for human beings. Our bodies respond to viruses by developing fever, and if the invaders become heat resistant, then it means we are losing the battle against the viruses. And sometimes climate change can also act in odd ways. Back in 2016, Siberia, a decades-old reindeer carcass was unearthed due to rising heat. A child had touched the corpse and got anthrax, which can be fatal. And this case in Siberia started an outbreak in the region. Global warming and habitat loss are constantly pushing animals closer to human beings, and with that comes the threat of diseases spilling over. So apart from the known illnesses, climate change brings a new threat of new viruses. Scientists are calling this a Pandora's box of pathogens. And this new study tells us about the far-reaching effects of climate change. It's not just limited to rising sea levels and extreme weather events. Climate change is here, and so are its consequences. And with me on the broadcast this minute is Naomi Morris, a climate activist and an ambassador of the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. Naomi, thanks very much for being here with us. How do you react to this report that connects climate hazards to 58% of the infectious diseases?
Actually, this report should just be an eye-opener to all of us, because in many times we activists have been saying that there's no climate justice without access to health facilities, and that this has been exposed actually publicly wherever it rains heavily in our countries. Yes, we may be in global south, and we have been seeing the flooding happening, but it will not only stop here. The report, when you go back and check, there's where they mention cholera. Many of you had forgotten about cholera because people were trying to treat it in every way possible. But today, whenever there is flooding, that water, because it always carries out even the latrines. Imagine whenever it rains heavily, this flooding water carries out everything, including latrines, and they end up in lakes and rivers. Today, when you come to Uganda, where people are crying for access to clean water, wherever they find something like a hole where they can find water, they just take. The water is not treated at all. The water is dirty, and this is going to continue because we continue to hit the planet, and it is causing all this damage that today everywhere you see flooding, and this flooding doesn't just come in one day, it continues to come every day. So the report is saying that more diseases are going to come, even the one that have been dormant. It is true, because they have started coming back. Cholera is going to increase in Africa and even in global south, because now we are seeing all this flooding. This flooding water is too dirty, but people have no access to clean water, so they take it untreated.
Right, Nyombi, you've seen the effects of flooding from up close. How, according to you, can countries around the world prepare in a better way?
First, we should understand that the main cause of flooding has been heating the planet. We have to stop heating the planet. These rising temperatures are the main cause. But whenever we tell world leaders that, yes, you are seeing this, can't you put an end on fossil fuel? Can you set laws that govern countries whenever there is something like this project that are unsustainable? We are trying to achieve the Agenda 2030, but such projects are still happening. Imagine we have drilling, we have deforestation in the Congo Basin. At the same time, we are seeing mining everywhere, and you expect to receive rainfall when you want it? No, it will not happen. But when it happens, it will be deadly, whereby it will kill a lot of people. First, they should set up a response, I call it crisis response funds, whereby this community that are already struggling have chance to use that money to recover. The second thing should be let them set up, strengthen the health systems so that these people that are mentally hit, let's say in my country where flooding was, a lot of people lost their crops, and today they are looking for possible ways of surviving. So they will need this money in recovery, and also they will need access to therapists who are free but ready to guide them to recover from their mental illness. Otherwise, they have lost a lot of things. So we need health system to be strengthened. Otherwise, things are going to be tough. It is a do or die. You either act now because people are already suffering due to flooding, due to excessive drought that are making it so hard for them to grow more crops.
Nyombi, good to have you on the broadcast. Thanks very much. We're leaving it there for the moment.
Thank you.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.